Friendships are an important part of our support system and can be vital to our overall mental health. We need other people in our life to vent to remind us that we're not alone, and to be a constant when our other relationships fail. But what if our friends aren't a source of support and instead always take? Or what if they forget our birthday? Or worse, we catch them talking about us behind our backs? When they seem to let us down so often that we've lost count, that friendship may be toxic. My name is Kati Morton. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I talk about depression, anxiety, eating disorders, and really anything mental health related. So if you'd like to subscribe, we would love to have you. I promise you will always leave with some helpful information for you or for someone you love. Okay, let's jump into the signs that you're in a toxic friendship. Obviously, we are all human and make mistakes. But what I'm discussing today is more of a pattern of behavior or extreme actions that make this friendship harmful and possibly not worth continuing. So take a minute and consider as I offer these 10 signs that you may be in a toxic friendship, and make sure you stay tuned to the end because I'm offering 4 things to do about it. Now, the first sign that your friendship may be toxic is that you feel anxious or overwhelmed after spending time with them. This could be like someone who is always asking you for things, always taking. I used to call these people like emotional vampires or a black hole for energy because you just feel drained, right? You go to see them and you actually feel worse afterward. And it can take a while. Personally, I've had many friendships like this. It can take a while to notice, but just start to pay attention after you've spent a couple of hours. Let's say we went to lunch or went over to their house. How do you feel afterward? Do you feel like it was a breath in? And you feel so energized? Like I remember noticing after spending like 3 or 4 hours with my good friend Joanna, how good I felt after that time. I felt like, like revitalized, like I'd taken a really nice nap or had a really relaxing day, versus some other friendships that I've ended where I would leave feeling exhausted and like I never really wanted to see them again. So pay attention to that. And if you feel like they're sucking all your energy, it's a sign that it could be a toxic friendship. My second sign, they never apologize. Or they'll do what I call a fake apology by saying, "I'm so sorry you feel that way." That always frustrates me because how can you be sorry for the way that I feel? That's not an apology. That's bullshit. Or they'll say something like, "I'm so sorry if what I did hurt your feelings." You're like, bitch, I'm telling you hurt my feelings. Don't be sorry that something that I'm saying, that doesn't even make any sense. Just apologize straight up. If you have a friend that can't do that and does things that hurt you, and you've expressed that it hurts you and they won't apologize, it's not good. Number 3, they use guilt to get you to do things. In relationships like this, you'll often find yourself saying like, I should go help them. I should make time to see them. And I've talked about this in the past, how shoulding all over yourself never leads to anything healthy. And that applies here. So if you find that in your relationships, you feel bad or they say things to cause you to feel bad for them, like if they make you feel bad for not being available 24/7, in relationships like this, it's often a pushback against healthy boundaries, meaning if you don't get back to them right away, or if you aren't available when they expect you to be, they'll try to make you feel bad by, oh, woe is me, lamenting about their life, instead of understanding that you also have your own life. So just pay attention if you're doing things out of guilt rather than joy and love. Number 4, this one's kind of obvious, but needs to be said, you don't trust them anymore. And maybe it's because they flake all the time, right? They say they're going to show up for you and do these things or help you out, and then they just don't show up. Like I had a friend who's no longer a friend tell me she was going to pick me up from the airport and then just not show up. It's kind of a big deal. That was the beginning of the end of the friendship. And so pay attention to whether or not you feel like you can count on them. Now, I know people have things come up in their life. I'm not saying, again, this isn't like 100% of the time no one lets you down. I'm just saying, is there a pattern of behavior where they just aren't there for you? Or have you heard them talking about you behind your back, and so you feel like you can't trust them with things that you tell them, right? If we are trying to share secrets with our friends, and it's not even secrets, just like personal information that can make us vulnerable, if we don't feel like they can hold that in confidence, Are they really a friend? The next sign is that it's a one-sided relationship, meaning that you're the only one giving to it. Now, I have a long-term friendship end over this because it got to the point where whenever she would call me, she'd always either be in crisis or need, immediate support or help, and I was available, right? I would either call her right back or I'd answer right away, and I was there for her as much as I could be. However, when I needed anything, just to vent, someone to listen, if I needed anything from her, help, support, maybe to pick me up from the airport or help me move, she was never around and I could never get a hold of her and she would never call me back. And she was even one of those people who her voicemail box was always full, so I could never even leave a voicemail if I was trying to call. It was extremely frustrating. But it still took, again, patterns, right? It took me quite a while to recognize that she could always get a hold of me and I could never get a hold of her. It was definitely a one-sided relationship. I was always giving and she was always taking, never the reverse. The next sign is when they call or text, you dread checking it or talking to them. And this kind of goes for every relationship. If we don't look forward to seeing someone or talking with them or connecting, then it's not good for us. Because that dread or stress that we're feeling when we see their name pop up on our phone, or it's our brain's way of telling us that that relationship isn't good for us. It's not what we really want. And so pay attention to those cues. If you're dreading conversation with them, I think we could all agree that's not a good friendship. The next sign is that we have to constantly make excuses for them or cover for them. If they are acting in inappropriate or embarrassing ways and we're always stuck in the position of having to explain for them or lie to cover their misbehavior, like let's say we have a friend who is struggling with addiction or is a flake, right? Remember going back to if we can't trust them, they just don't show up and we're the one that's left because, him or her best, where are they? And you find yourself constantly lying, covering up. Oh, they said they're right on their way. Oh, don't worry. They felt sick this morning, so maybe that's what's going on. If we find ourselves in that position over and over and over again, it's possible it's a toxic friendship. The next sign is that they put you down or criticize you a lot. Now, sure, constructive criticism has its place, and in close relationships, we should be able to say, that's hurtful when you do that, or sometimes I think people take you the wrong way when you say things like that. We can offer that kind of constructive criticism, emphasis being on the word constructive, right? But if we have a friend who is constantly talking badly about us and criticizing us either to our face or behind our back, that's not a good thing. We shouldn't be putting down the people in our lives that we're supposed to love and be connected to. So if someone in your life is constantly, nitpicking your outfit or your hair or the way you look or the way that you speak or something about you, if you constantly feel criticized, it's not a good thing. And rolling right off of that one, the next sign is if we know that they talk badly about us or share our secrets with others behind our backs. Now, I know this kind of ties in with we can't trust them anymore, but I feel like this needs to be its own because this happens too often in friendships. And if we can't trust them with any of our vulnerabilities or any of the things we're going through, and they're putting us down to other people or talking about us, behind our back, that's a clear sign that this really isn't a friendship at all. And finally, sign number 10, they don't respect our boundaries. Now, this can look like them not taking no for an answer when you say you'd rather stay in, or inviting themselves along to something that you said you wanted to do alone. Or they could even push you to do things that you've told them is triggering or overwhelming for you. And it could also be them sharing your personal information that you said was private. If you find someone in your life that's supposed to be a friend, not at least trying to understand and respect your boundaries, that's not a good sign, and that friendship could definitely be toxic. Okay, so maybe we think one or more of our friendships are toxic. Now what do we do? Now today I'm offering 4 things, and the first tip is that you can talk with them and let them know what's upsetting. And then, important part, give them a chance to change. We can't expect everybody to be perfect right out the gate. There's going to come times in every relationship where we have to communicate about something that is upsetting. And the best advice I have for communicating this is to keep it short and clear. An example would be to say something like, I feel like I've been making a lot of excuses for you lately and trying to cover up for you, and I don't really like doing that. So can you please try not to put me in those situations? Now, I know communicating like this is really difficult, and it can help personally. I write things down, like little bullet points of what I want to say, and I practice saying it out loud. Because if we want to salvage these relationships, we're going to have to learn how to communicate about our upsets. And I know some of you are thinking, Katie, that's aggressive. We could fight. This is horrible. I hate conflict. Join the club. I don't like conflict either. But in relationships, we're going to have to learn how to do this. And I can tell you with 100% certainty that the option and example I just gave you is not aggressive, is not starting conflict. It's just clear and direct communication, which I know is uncomfortable, but it's really important. And if we think that they'll be able to have a real conversation about it, then we really should try. Now, I know some of us might say, but they get really upset and they can be really volatile. We can at least try. If they aren't able to have that conversation, we can end it. You can always say, you know what? I can tell we're both just getting a little too upset. Let's reconnect about this tomorrow or next week. We can push it off. We can leave the conversation. We can end a conversation. It's okay, but it's just important that we at least try. Tip number 2 is to set healthy boundaries. I know you all love boundaries. I'm just kidding. I know they're really hard to set, but ways that we can do this is letting them know it's not okay to talk to me that way, or I don't like it when you say those types of things, or, it's really hurtful when you flake at the last minute, or we just stop making excuses for them. And I know it's really difficult to all of a sudden stop filling a role because, not to get too therapist-y on you, but I can't help it. Often these are roles that we've played in our lives forever, tracking back to our family and our role in our family unit, right? So it can be hard for us to step out of those roles. But if we find, making excuses, putting up with them flaking, listening to them talk trash about us, if we recognize that's happening and it's hurtful, it's okay to acknowledge it, tell them that we're not okay with it, and stop allowing it to happen. Because the thing that I think a lot of people don't understand about toxic relationships in general is that it's not that we're right and they're wrong. It's a bad recipe. Because for some reason, the way that we're interacting with each other just isn't working out, right? They might be mistreating us, but also we're allowing it. And it takes two to be in a relationship, right? And so if we stop essentially, let's say, I would like to call it like dancing with each other, like a relationship is a dance. If we stop doing the same steps that we were doing, they're not going to be able to keep dancing either, right? And so if we remove ourselves from that role, it won't be able to continue. And part of that removal is setting healthy boundaries. Tip number 3, slowly distancing ourselves from them. We cannot be as available. We don't have to reply to texts or calls. We can take a little longer than usual, building up to days. And I only allow this tip to be used if we've at least tried to communicate with them. We've at least tried. We've tried to tell them what's upsetting us and given them an opportunity to change. Because I know it's so common now for people just to ghost in romantic relationships and friendships, just to I don't talk to them anymore. It's best if we at least try to understand and work together. If that's not gonna improve, right? They'll say they're still flaking, they're still doing things that are hurtful, talking about us behind our backs. Then we can just slowly drift away. And if they ask or if they speak up about it, we can tell them, it's because of these reasons, like I said before, but we don't have to. We can just not be available. Having telephones, maybe this is because I'm old and I grew up without cell phones, but having cell phones tethered to us all the time doesn't mean we have to be available 24/7. I know, it's hard. It's hard to not be available. But I'd encourage each and every one of us to practice that, because unless it's an emergency, things can wait. And we should never be at the beck and call of anybody. I'm going to repeat that to make sure you heard it. Just because we have cell phones does not mean we have to be available 24/7. And fourth and finally is cut them off quickly and completely. Now, this is only appropriate when it's not safe to try and have a conversation with them, or they become irate and lash out when you do. Now, this doesn't mean it's okay just because you don't like having uncomfortable conversations. I almost want to say that one again. This isn't okay just because you don't like having uncomfortable conversations. I know it's hard. Trust me, I don't like conflict either, but if we don't at least practice, we're never going to get better. And then our relationships can continue to have these patterns, right? Like I said before, relationships are dances, right? Where it's both of us working together. It's not I'm right, you're wrong. It's for some reason together, we're a toxic combination. And if we don't try to improve our side of the road, our relationships aren't going to improve overall. So we only cut them off quickly and completely if it's not safe, emotionally or physically. Because sometimes you don't know how people are going to react. And when we do come to talk to them, it can be overwhelming. I give you full permission to say something like, I can tell this is really difficult and we're both getting a little too emotional. We can come back to this. And you might not even mean it. That's okay. We just have to remove ourselves so we can safely get out of those types of situations. But again, it's not just because we don't like uncomfortable conversations. We should try to communicate, and if it's not safe, we can remove ourselves. Overall, know that friendships can be wonderful sources of support and connection. But if they aren't helpful and instead are hurtful, there is no reason we have to stay in them. We all deserve to feel heard and understood in our relationships. And sure, it can take a few tries to cultivate, your real team of people, your real support system. And honestly, even as we grow up, that can change because our needs can change, and that's okay. But just know that you all are deserving of real connection and real friendships. All of you. I know, you're thinking, no, maybe I'm not. I'm here to tell you are. There's no need to stay in these toxic type of relationships. Let's work to improve ourselves and improve our connection with others, because really that's what life's all about. If you found this helpful, consider sharing this video. Or if you have other signs or helpful tips, leave those in the comments down below. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you next time.